Numbers 31. Make sure to like, share, and follow. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Seek vengeance for the Israelites on the Midianites. Afterward you will be gathered to your people. Moses spoke to the people, saying, Arm yourselves from among your men for the battle, so that they will go against Midian to mete out the vengeance of Yahweh on Midian. 1,000 from each tribe of every tribe of Israel you will send into battle. So they were assigned from the 1,000 of Israel, 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 equipped for battle. Moses sent them 1,000 from each tribe to the battle, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, to the battle with them, and the vessels of the sanctuary and the trumpets of the blast were in his hand, and they fought against Midian, just as Yahweh commanded Moses, and they killed every male. They killed the kings of Midian, in addition to the ones they had slain, Evi and Rakim and Zur and Hur and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam, son of Beor, by the sword. The Israelites took captive women of Midian and their children, and they plundered all their domestic animals and all their livestock and all their wealth. They burned all their cities where they dwelled and all their camps with fire. They took all the plunder and all the war booty with the humans and domestic animals. They brought the captives, the war booty, and the plunder to Moses and to Eleazar, the priest, and the community of the Israelites to the desert plateau of Moab, which was on the Jordan across Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar, the priest, and all the leaders of the community went out to meet them outside the camp. But Moses was angry toward the leaders of the troops, the commanders of the thousands, of the commanders of the hundreds who came from the battle of war. And Moses said to them, You have kept alive every female. Behold, these women caused the Israelites by the sword of Balaam to be in apostasy against Yahweh in the matter of Peor, so that the plague was among the community of Yahweh. Now kill every male among the little children, and kill every woman who has had sexual intercourse with a man. But all the females who have not had sexual intercourse with a man keep alive for yourselves. And you camp outside the camp 7 days. All who killed a person and all who touched the slain, purify yourselves on the 3rd day. And on the 7th day, you and your captives, you will purify yourselves, and every garment and every object of hide and all the work of goat's hair and every object of wood. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men of the battle who came from the war, This is the decree of the law of Yahweh commanded Moses. Only the gold and silver and the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that will go through the fire, you will pass through the fire, and it will be clean. And only in waters of impurity will it be purified. And whatever does not go into the fire, you will pass through the waters, and you will wash your garments on the 7th day, and be clean, and afterwards you will come into the camp. And Yahweh said to Moses, saying, You and Eleazar the priest, and the leaders of the families of the community, take count of the war booty that was captured, both humans and the domestic animals. Divide the war booty between those who engaged in war, who went out to the battle, and all the community. Exact a tribute for Yahweh from the men of the war, those who went out for the battle, one from 500 persons, and from the cattle, and from the male donkeys, and from the flock. Take from their half, and give it to Eleazar the priest, as a contribute to Yahweh. From half of the Israelites take 1 share drawn by lot from the 50, from the humans, from the cattle, from the male donkeys, from the flock, from all the domestic animals, and give them to the Levites who keep the responsibilities of the tabernacle of Yahweh. Moses and Eleazar the priest did just as Yahweh commanded Moses. Thus the war booty that remained of the plunder that the people of the battle plundered was 675,000 flocks of sheep, 72,000 cattle, 61,000 male donkeys, and the life of humankind from the women who did not have sexual intercourse with a man. All the persons were 32,000. The half of the share that was going to the battle, the number of the flock of sheep was 337,500. The tribute to Yahweh from the flock was 675. The cattle were 36,000, and the tribute to Yahweh was 72. Of the male donkeys, there were 30,500, and the tribute to Yahweh was 61. The humans were 16,000, and the tribute to Yahweh was 32 persons. And Moses gave away the tribute of the contribution of Yahweh to Eleazar the priest, just as Yahweh commanded Moses. From the half of the Israelites which Moses divided from the men who were fighting on the half that belonged to the community was 37,500 from the flock, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 male donkeys, and 16,000 humans from the half that belonged to the Israelites. Moses took one share drawn by lot out of every 50 humans and domestic animals, and he gave them to the Levites, who kept the responsibility of the tabernacle of Yahweh, just as Yahweh commanded Moses. Then the leaders of the thousands of the army, the commanders of the thousands, and the commanders of the hundreds approached Moses, and they said to Moses, "Your servants have taken count of the men of war who were in charge, and no man is missing from us." So we brought the offering of Yahweh, what each man found, objects of gold, bangles, bracelets, rings, earrings, and female ornaments, to make anointment for ourselves before Yahweh. Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from them, all the objects of work, all the gold from the contribution that they raised up to Yahweh, from the commanders of the thousands and the commanders of the hundreds, was 16,750 shekels. The men of battle plundered each for himself. So Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold from the commanders of the thousands and the hundreds, and they brought it to the tent of assembly as a memorial for the Israelites before Yahweh. May God bless you, and may God bless the reading of his word.